is, I think Lisa's doing smooth styling this Thursday. And while there are some similarities between the two, they're really used pretty differently. Like when we do smooth arm styling, it's kind of like all up here, and there's 3 different arcs that you can use. But when we do rhythm, it's all like below shoulder level ish. There's always going to be a couple exceptions to that, but we're going to be doing a lot of like squeezing action. So if you haven't done a back workout lately or an arm workout lately, hopefully this will like be in place for you. Okay, so we're going to start with my little baby exercises. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. I have them written down so I don't forget them. We're going to start with some, I call it the squish and the stretch, and they're complements of each other, but I like starting with the squish, and it's kind of got a lot to do with what we've been talking about with Latin motion or Cuban motion lately, and like using your knees and ankles and feet and all that stuff. Because hopefully as you do arm styling, it's coming from something that you're doing in your body, and you're not just going like this, like throwing your arms around for no reason. Because sometimes it can look like that. So we're going to try to avoid that. So I'm going to do this facing you guys first, and then I'm going to flip it around in case that helps at all. I always hate doing a mirror image of people. I like doing exactly what they're doing, which is why I turn around a lot. Anyways, so we're going to start with one arm out to the side. If you want to mirror me, that's great. And we're going to work this arm and this leg. And we're going to bend our elbow into our side, and we're going to bend this knee. So it's like elbow and knee are bending. So we go squish, squish, squish. I'm going to give you like a million pointers about this. So as you bend your elbow and the opposite knee, you should also be feeling your shoulder to your hip on this side squeezing down to each other. When you do that, if you use like your shoulder squeezing down to your hip, it'll rotate your whole arm bone, which is what makes this hand twist. If you're just going like this, it's like halfway there, but you're not using enough muscle tone. So you really want to like squeeze. If we had partners, I would have one partner put their hand on your shoulder and the other one like on your lower back, and like manipulate that squish. Yes, yes, roommates, just like that. So as you're pulling your elbow into your side, you're also really feeling that shoulder and hip squeeze to each other. So it should get like all wrinkly on one side. So this is the squish. You're not just bending your elbow and bending your knee. Hopefully you're feeling like some connection between the two of them. So if this starts out straight, this starts out straight, it gets to like its bentest part at the same time, and then gets to its straightest part at the same time. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. Good. We have to do the other arm because my arm's getting tired. So if you want to switch, you can. So now I'm bending this elbow and bending this knee. And this was too much coordination for me. Bend and stretch and bend. Actually, don't stretch it, just straighten. Bend, straighten. So we're working opposite knee and elbow. Whoop. From the side, it looks like these. We're not using a lot of dimension to do anything like this way, but as you squeeze your shoulder to your hip, usually you'll turn a little bit towards this arm. Great. Continue doing that. Straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, and then I'm going to do it from the back too. So left arm, right knee goes bend, straighten, bend, straighten, really squishing this shoulder down to my left hip. Whoop, 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 whoop. And if that, like, you're kind of feeling it, you're like, okay, this is all working together. If you want to, this is more for the follows, or more for the follows part, you can kind of like flip this hand, wha-cha. I'm doing this the wrong way, wha-cha. So you like face palm yourself a little bit. Just to give it a little bit more step. That depends kind of on what dance you're doing. Whatever. But yes, very good. Add styling is needed. Add styling is needed. Okay, so that's the squish, right? We're squishing one side down to the other. Now, we're gonna do kind of the same thing-ish, except we're gonna do, let me get this set up correctly. It's hard to do it back to back with each other. Okay, we're gonna do, this arm is gonna start down at our side, and I'm gonna bend my right knee and bring my right elbow up. So this time I'm going to stretch. My right knee goes out and my right elbow goes up. Ooh, right knee, right elbow. And you can kind of like robot it, like make it silly at first. But it's just the elbow going up. Good. Just the elbow. Good. And keep your forearm dropped down, like you're holding a weight in your hand. I have made people do this while holding a TheraBand in their hand and underneath their foot. Now if we switch, left knee, left elbow, both bend. We go bend and stretch, bend and stretch. This is the stretch. Sorry, I'm saying it at a weird time. Whoosh. Good. And actually, if you have that idea, you guys know what TheraBands are, right? I use this word all the time. Okay, thank you. Like the big, round, stretchy workout bands. Okay, so like imagine you have one under your left foot and gripped in your left hand, and you really have to like pull it up, and then it pulls you back down. Well, if she's gonna go get one, just 10 points. I know it feels silly, but it'll be fine. Good, good, good. Good. The other thing is, because I said this about the squeeze, when you do this pull with your knee and your elbow, maybe this side with the elbow up comes forward a little bit. So you might get a little bit of a twist. Yay! Don't do the jazz hands. That's not part of arm styling. So if you twist a little bit one way or the other, super good. Okay, I'm gonna do this from the back too, because that's gonna build into our next thing. So if I'm doing my stretch, I'm doing left elbow, left knee, bending, and they both stretch to the forward, forward, forward. I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna switch sides just for kicks. So right knee, right elbow goes bending, 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 and stretching. Still. Okay, 10 points to anyone who can answer this. I don't know how you're gonna answer. You can unmute yourself or whatever. But did you notice, and just like wave or high kick or whatever, did you notice that as we're stretching this side, that this side might be squeezing? Maybe? Yeah! Jazz hands, we got a couple high kicks. I'm so happy. So now we're gonna get crazy. We're gonna get crazy, my folks. Let's start this way. Like mirror me, and this arm's gonna start down. So I'm gonna bend my right knee, and what's going to happen is this elbow is gonna come in, and this elbow is gonna go out, so I go, whoop, and I'm just gonna go back to neutral, because let's not be crazy. So left elbow is coming in as my right knee bends, but my right elbow is coming out too, because this is the stretching side, and this is the squishing side. Go back to neutral. Yeah? I swear it doesn't turn into breakdancing. It just feels like it. Okay, so this elbow comes in, this elbow goes out, and I'm going squeeze on this side. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Stretch, 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 stretch. Yep, go back. We're doing like King Tut. You might not get that reference. Go back, squeeze and stretch. Yes. Make sure you're bending your right knee. So we're going whoop. I know it feels goofy, but it's so good. And you're squeezing your left hip and shoulder down to each other and stretching your whole right side. Whew. Do one more. Whoop. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. It looks like we should be break dancers. Okay, switch. This arm out. This arm are at our side. This knee, my left knee is gonna bend. So when my left knee bends, my right elbow comes in and my left elbow stretches out. I go back to neutral. Whoosh. Good. Squeeze through your right side, stretch through your left. Squeeze through your right side, stretch through your left. Still bending my left knee a lot. Yes. Squeezing my right shoulder blade to my right hip. Whoop. I think you need to do the sound effects always. Whoop. Good. Whoop. Okay, now we're gonna get real crazy. We're gonna do both of them together. Evil laugh. Okay, so this is when it helps to have mirrors or be able to like video yourself for like 10 seconds and just watch it back, because it's really easy to like just get uncoordinated with this. I'm gonna be real honest about this. It can go south real fast. And this is where sometimes it looks like you might be doing this, like your forearms are just circling like willy-nilly. It's fine, just practice this a lot. And I have references for this and everything. Okay, so if we start here, I'm gonna start by bending my right knee first. Right knee starts bending, my left elbow is coming in, my right elbow is going out. I'm gonna go all the way through to here, stretching this arm out. Now guess what? I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna start bending my left knee, bending my left knee, bending my left knee, bending my left knee. This arm comes in, my left arm goes out. And I'm gonna straighten it all the way out. So I'm in like running man position right here, and this is nicely extended. Looks good, looks good. Okay, now we switch. We start bending our right knee, bending our right knee, bending our right knee. Our left elbow comes in, our right elbow goes out. Whoop, good. Go back. We're gonna switch and bend our left knee. So we start squeezing on our right side. We start stretching on our left side. Start bending that right knee. Squeeze on your left side. Stretch on your right side. Squeeze on your right side. Stretch on your left side. I don't know if I'm saying the sides correctly, so just go on with me. And then we start bending our right knee, squeezing our left side. Woo, extend, running man, good. Squeezing our right side, bending our left knee, stretching our left side. It looks really nice. I shouldn't sound surprised. It looks great, you guys. Okay, question so far. I'm looking. No?
I feel like I'm just doing the robot. I feel like I'm like.
It kind of should. But here's like the weird important part that I actually have on my notes over there is like find your elbows. Most of the time when I see people doing arm styling where I'm like, they've watched somebody do arm styling and haven't really learned how to do arm styling. Two things are going to happen. I don't know. Yeah, that's two, or that's two. There we go. Two things will happen. Either they'll be like this. They'll be like, this is the most common one. This is Mambo. I'm like, yeah, those arms are moving, and like they're kind of moving in sync with my feet. That's pretty good. And like usually you'll get the fists too. Gotta do the fist, right? Like you're playing drums, and I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, there's levels. And the other thing I'll see is there's no elbow, and there's just weed whacking. Back and forth. That's also where you take out your friends on the dance floor. No bien. So even when you're doing smooth, you really want to use those elbows, no matter what you're doing. This is where you find like your volume on the floor. So I know it feels doofy to do this whole thing, whoosh, whoosh, but eventually it will smooth out, I promise. So just like when you learned Cuban motion, like the first time, you were like, bend, straighten, settle, or like however you learned it, it probably felt stupid. Or even a box step, you're like 1, 2, 3, and it was like very staccato. This all smooths out eventually. Yes, my people. And then Ames just has other skills that I don't even understand. So good. But the two main components of doing arm styling, if you're just like walking around doing basics and have a free arm, is this whole squish and stretch idea. So one of my coaches from a million years ago, he was like, just do these things, do these 2 exercises like 20 times a day on each side. So I cannot recommend enough that you stand here and do opposite elbow and leg and do the squish and relax and squish and relax and squish and relax. And of course, switch sides. So now I'm bending this leg, that's not my leg, this arm, this leg, and I go squish, squish. I'm only gonna do this 5 times because we've already done it, but more times than that. And then I do same elbow and same leg, and I'm bending them together. Ooh, I gotta start down with this one. And I go right elbow and right knee, and right elbow and right knee. This is 3, this is 4, and we're stretching, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then we go to the left side, arm down, left elbow up, let that forearm hang, let that forearm hang. And I'm bending my left knee and bending my left elbow, creating some space between my church and state, as I like to say, you know, church and state. But do that a lot, because then as you're starting to do, let's take, for example, rock steps. We're eventually going to do like Cuban walks too. But if you're doing a rock step, I'm going to go this way. And I start out this way, and I'm going to do a rock step. I'm going to squeeze. I'm doing this on the wrong side. Like, where do I have partnership? It's been a while. There we go. Then I'm going to go quick, quick, and just that motion is because I'm doing my squeeze at the right time. Right knee bent, left elbow comes in, and then I extend it as I start to bend my left knee. So like all of that will come together, but we're going to go a little bit easier than rock steps, because rock steps have like the rocking action, which sometimes like throws off everybody's timing. So we're going to do open Cuban walks. Like I always call it the horse and pony show, where the lead's like in the middle and the follow walks around in a circle, right? It's literally just walks forward, but it's slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick. And I know there we are. I know the team version is different than the version I always teach. So we're just skipping the intro into it. We're just literally going to walk in a circle in however much space that you have. So I kind of feel like I have more space than you guys, but I'm going to start with my left foot going forward, and I'm just going to walk slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Like, yeah, parade it around, my people, parade it around. So come with me, left foot going forward. We're going to do like 1 box worth of walking forward, and then we're going to add our arms. And then we're going to add some variations on our arms, okay? So left foot going forward, slow, quick, quick. Ready? And slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. I said a box, but it's a box and a half. You're fine. Okay, I'm going to put on a really slow music, just these steps first, and then arm styling in a second. One moment. You can hear it okay? Okay. Left foot forward, slow, quick, quick. This is Bolero, so it's real slow. Here we go. And slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick. Slow, one more set. Quick, quick, slow. Good. One more time, just the steps. Now we're adding an arm. Here we go. And slow. Quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. You're totally gonna urinate something. Okay, now we're gonna do arms. And like I said, if you're like, whoa, my arms just got out of control, and you feel like you're doing this, it's okay. It's a learning process, right? Just like really sell it if you're gonna do this version. Okay, so as we start with our left leg free. So let's hear. I'm gonna go, my right arm is out. So I have this, I don't know why I wanna call this a T position. Clearly it's not, but I'm gonna start with my right arm out. my left knee is gonna bend. So then my left arm starts extending. Then I take my step, whoosh, and guess what? I switch. So now my left arm starts bending, my right arm starts extending, whoosh. And then I switch, left arm starts extending, right arm starts extending, left arm starts extending, right arm starts extending, left arm, right arm, left arm, right arm. I don't know what step I'm on, but we look so good. Yeah. Okay, you might notice. What? I'm so happy. All of you. Good job. As you're walking, it's a lot easier to notice that whatever foot's going forward, that same arm is going forward. So as I start here with my left foot free, I start in this not T position. And as I start to take my step with my left foot, this left arm does this robot business. But then it's going to continue stretching forward as I get that weight on my left foot. And then as I step forward with my right foot, my right arm goes forward. Whoosh. My left arm goes forward with my left foot. My right arm goes forward with my right foot. Left arm, left foot. Right arm, right foot. Left arm, left foot. Right arm. You get it, right? So it's that whole side going forward. I'll show you mistakes in a second, but let's do this to Bolero Tempo now. It's going to be amazing. It's still going to feel really fast, but see if you can get that arm and leg going forward at the same time. Here we go, and slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Good? Do it again. You guys are like chasing each other. I love it. All right, ready? Here we go, and slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Good. One more time. Here we go, and slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Okay, yay! I was gonna say something. Oh, you guys ever watch 30 Rock? Oh yeah! Okay, I'm so thrilled. So I'm gonna tell a quick story about 30 Rock. So Alec Baldwin, like big burly guy, is on it, right? And he is like the producer of the show, but then he gets like this little tiny, teeny bit on this TV show. And he's supposed to like walk in with a mug and he's like a one-liner. And he's like overthinking it. So he's got this mug in his hand and he's like, how do I walk again? And I think of that every time I teach Cuban Walks. I'm like, because it could really easily turn into like my whole side. And you're kind of like walking gingerbread like around your room. Which again, if you're gonna do it, like sell it. I'll buy it. But hopefully there's some like nuance and timing. I was talking to, I don't think he's here, but I was talking to one of my students about the difference in timing between rhythm and Latin, and where it's like real slight. So that's the difference between doing arm styling and doing gingerbread walks, is about that too. So you want your knee to bend and your elbow to come in actually first. So I start activating like this knee, whoo, and squeezing. And then the last thing to happen is this robot arm over here. So it goes knee first, and it kind of works its way up. So you go knee, and then I'm squeezing my shoulder down, and then this elbow starts going out. But it's not like it all goes whoop, because that's where you get the gingerbread walks. Whoop, whoop, as I walk into my camera. Yes? So really think squeeze. It will help so much. Let's do it one more time, and then I'm going to do variations on like lead-esque styling versus follow styling, which is probably what you all want anyway. So hold on. I'm gonna play me and Ames's favorite song, and then hopefully there's not an ad. Or there's volume. There we go. Okay, one more time. Just loop around the room, doing your slow, quick, quick. Try not to be gingerbread people, but heck, go for it. This position. Here we go. And slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. My arm styling is hitting the doorways. Okay. Last thing is, sometimes people think it's easier to think of like their right arm and their right foot going forward kind of at the same-ish time. Or sometimes people really like thinking about the squeeze, like which side is squeezing more. Sometimes people like thinking about the stretch. Those are kind of the three main theories that you could have in your head. So mess with it a little bit, walk in your circle and be like, okay, this time I'm thinking about my right hand and my right foot going forward at the same time. And then do it again and be like, okay, this time I'm thinking about squeezing my shoulder down to my hip. See how that feels and see kind of which feels more right or feels less robotic or looks nicest. Yay. Okay, now I have some differences between lead arm styling and follow arm styling. Mostly when you're a lead, you're like the frame, like you're literally the frame. You're trying to make your follow look fancy by doing steps that make the follow look fancy. So most of your shtick as arm styling is like, oh. I always think paso doble. I'm horrible at paso doble, but like this palm up thing, as long as you're like, look at what I've done. That's like what you want to think about all the time. Look at how good she looks. Like, that's your idea. I love leading because it's mostly like, look at this. And you really like can stretch that hand out. And I know there's like a whole bunch of things about like hand styling, but just go, wow. Like you've got magic in your hands. I'm gonna keep talking. So, as the follow, a lot of times, you know, we're wearing rhinestones and fancy things, and the lead is usually in black. So as much as we love you, the leads kind of disappear, and the follows are out there looking good. So the easiest way as a follow to do your arm styling is to like point out the things that you think look good. So my favorite one is, if I take this hand, I go, look at my hair. And so we'll do these as we do the Cuban Walks too. It makes, that looks great. And we go around our head. It's just a big old circle. Look at my hair. You can also do, I think of this as Vanna White for whatever reason, but I'm like, look at my fancy letters. Vanna White, right? Real Fortune. So this is flipping my hand over, going, oh, look at my fancy letters, and then dumping them out at the end. Look at my fancy letters. I dump them out to the side. Good. Those are like the two easiest ones, especially to incorporate in Cuban Walks. So if I'm the follow, and I'm going to do these Cuban Walks, on this first set of slow, quick, quick, a lot of times I'll do look at my hair, look at my hair, and then I'll just leave this out for a second and do another measure with nothing. And then on the third measure, I'll be like, look at my fancy letters. And then dump them out at the end. Because a lot of times when we do that Cuban breaks thing, we'll do it for 3 measures. So that gives you like something to do on each one. But depending on what other things that you're doing, sometimes people are like, look at my fancy bracelets, look at my tan, look at my necklace, like any of those ideas. So you're not like just shaking your money maker. You're like, you've got a story with it, which is a good thing. And then for leads, usually, obviously, we walk backward when we do this open Cuban walk thing, but I'm gonna have you walking forward just to be weird. So as the lead, I will just, as I start, my like circle, I'll just like bring that arm out like here it is, and I'll continue bringing that out to my side. And leads, bless you, you can kind of just leave it there because you've got the follow in your other hand. So this is just like stick out your chest, have your little superhero moment, and be like, And sometimes you have to make that face too. I don't know if you can see my face from here, but it's got to be a little bit smug. You got to go smug. So follows and leads, if you want to practice this, more power to you. Because especially as you go through the levels, your styling gets less and less different. Ooh. Your story gets more like complicated, but like your motions get very similar as you go through the levels. So sometimes guys, you might be like, yeah, look at this hair. That's like a little bit different, but like you still got moments. Like in some of my routines I'm reaching for the Death Star. Oh no, it's waltz, just by the way. That happens in waltz. But give yourself a story. It really helps with arms. But also having like some science to it where you're like, here's where I squeeze and here's where I stretch is all good. Have something else. Questions so far? Or else I'm moving on. Nothing? We're good. Okay. Okay, hold on. I gotta look at my note. Oh yeah. Oh, it's on. So crossovers. We talked about weed whackers real quickly. Where like, yeah, I want to see elbows all the time. So guess what? I have a drill for this too. I like doing this in a chair, but I don't have one nearby, so we're just gonna do it standing up. But as you, let me think about this for a second. You can mirror image me, and I'll flip around and do this backwards in a second. But imagine you have suspenders on, fancy suspenders. Hold on, you're gonna have a cameo. Yeah. Okay, so pretend you have really fancy suspenders on. When everyone who teaches dancing says take your sides forward, they mean take one of these suspender straps forward. Ooh, just my suspender strap. I don't go like this and gingerbread it again. So I'm gonna take my, what is this? My left side forward, my left suspender strap. I'm gonna bring this right elbow up behind me. It's similar to what we were doing, but not the same. So my left side goes forward and my right elbow goes back. Ooh, so you're like squeezing your shoulder blades together. I swear there's a method to my madness. I'm also bending my left knee. So again, that's kind of similar to what we were doing earlier, but we're going in a different direction. Zoop. You gotta do the sound effect. Zoop. Zoop. Just that suspender. Zoop. Good. Now we're gonna switch. I'm gonna bring my right suspender forward and my right knee and my left elbow is gonna do the robot. So I go right suspender, left elbow. I'm pulling my suspender if you're wondering what I'm doing. You don't have to do this. Right suspender goes forward, left elbow, right suspender, left elbow, right suspender, left elbow. So again, I'm not just bringing this side forward and popping that elbow up in the air. Hopefully I'm squeezing. I want some squeezation of shoulder blades. So this side goes forward and I'm like, yeah, I'm flexing, man. That's why we have good back muscles as we continue to dance. So I'm going to flip around and do this the other way. I'm going to go right side and left elbow again. So my right suspender goes forward, my left elbow goes back. My right side goes forward, my left elbow goes back. My right side goes forward, my left elbow goes back. And just for kicks, we'll switch. So we do left side going forward, and right elbow going back. Left side forward, right elbow back. Left side forward, right elbow back, and I'm squeezing those shoulder blades together. Squeeze, squeeze, and one more. Squeeze. Yay. Okay, so this is moving up to crossover breaks. We're New Yorkers, if you're the Latin type. because this is a big one that I like. Not, I don't like to see it, but I see it. I'll see big old weed whackers. But then there's no like impact to your step because there's just this big old flag waving as you go into your crossovers. So I'm going to do crossovers going this way and this way real slowly, and I think you'll be able to see like where this all happens. So I'm going to rotate this way first. If you want to mirror me, great. So as I take my step forward, my left side is going forward and my right elbow is going to go back. Ooh. And then as I complete, you can still see me, as I get all my weight on my left foot, then this arm's going to extend. And I go, hi-ya. And that's where your karate chop action is. But it's just the forearm that flings. Yeah, I just caught myself in the doorway. It's fine. So again, if I do a crossover just going this way, I'm going to step through, which means my left side is coming forward. I'm going to bring my right elbow up. And then as I complete my weight transfer, I go, hi-ya. And I try to go up about 45 degrees because then you're less likely to hit other people. Now you go back from where you came. So I'm going to bring this elbow down. Ooh, like we did. Squeeze it in and come back. So now I'm in this nice neutral position. Then I'm going to turn this way. My right side's going to go forward. My left elbow is going to pop back. I'm going to transfer my weight, karate chop. And then I'm going to bring my elbow in first and come back to neutral. So elbow goes out first, elbow comes in first. It's good for self-defense. It's good for dancing. Wah, 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 wah. Yes? Okay. Do a couple with me. I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to do my crossover break going this way first. So I'm starting here. I'm bringing my left side forward, my right elbow up, and I karate chop. And then I bring my elbow in first. And I come back to neutral. Now I go, my right side's going forward, my left elbow's going back, and I karate chop. Good. And then bring that elbow in first. Very nice. Back to neutral. So knee and elbow. Whoop. Transfer your weight. Karate chop. Yeah. Bring your elbow in. So you have like waving high at people. And then come back. Elbow and knee. Karate chop. Come back with the elbow first. And you're back on your way. Yeah? Maybe? Kind of? Little pieces? Uh-huh. Ooh, I see good squeezing. And I saw a high kick, which just makes me so happy. So happy. Oh my gosh. I only have a couple minutes left. Okay. No, I'm good. Do you guys have any questions? Or specific steps that you want me to do arm styling on? Or give suggestions on? Everyone's like, hold up. I do. I'm going to throw one out there because we kind of did it, but we were doing Cuban walks, right? Walking in a circle. And we do for the follows, look at my hair, look at my fancy letters. I wouldn't do that same motion on underarm turns, like the circle turn, like that first step that you ever learned where you walk in a circle. And I think we did it in waltz, the first class, but just for reference, as I'm doing like a rumba and I'm doing the circle turn, this arm, which is usually up on the lead's shoulder, I kind of slide it off the front of their shoulder, like in between the two of us. And then I just keep it out the whole time as I come back. I wouldn't do anything fancy because there's actually not enough time to like get that full story told. So like kind of go low key on a basic underarm turn. But now I'm thinking, okay, I have one more because both leads and follows do this. A regular underarm turn. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm so excited. Underarm turns are like my jam and they're also like my pet peeve. So let me get my like rant in here and then you guys can ask questions. So if I'm doing an underarm turn, everybody turns to their right to start out with, right? So this arm maybe is attached to our partner. I love it. when, no matter if you're the lead or the follow, you go kwa-cha. And like, get a little extension on that first quick, and then just bring it back in. That's the one time where you can do a weed whacker. So if I go slowly, this arm might be out, it might be in frame, but I do a little thread the needle with my left arm. It goes in between, and I actually keep extending it this way, and I stop this arm. Yes, Lila! And I like have a moment where I'm not looking at my partner, I'm very much looking away from my partner, and then I can weed whack it as I bring it back to frame. Leads or follows, it's so good. It's so much better than just going around, which again, super good. If that's where you're at, holy crap, just get that 360 done. But if you can go slow, quick, slow, oh, I'm so happy. I'll be so happy. So you can mess around with that, but like think of it as going boop to somebody as you do your first quick. It makes me so happy. Okay, any questions? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna review in a second too, but no. Go, 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 go.
Was it, okay, I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Can you
Oh, sure.
talk about your wrists and your hands connected to your arms? Because I feel like I do a really stupid thing when I bring my thing up and it's like I go here and I know that doesn't look good.
No, it's one of those things where if you do it too slowly, you're like, this can't be right. But it is. Like there's a moment. I'm going to do this slowly. There's a moment where you're like totally holding a small grapefruit or something in your hand and it feels dumb, but then you end up dropping it. But yeah, there's a moment where like if I stopped right here, this is not a good look right here. This is where I don't want somebody to take a picture, but if I keep going, it'll like extend a little bit. So yes, there's totally awkward like wrist and hand moments especially. That's maybe like the one thing I would say is a little bit different for leads and follows is follows get a lot more like, gotta say it, wrist action where you're like flipping your hands back and forth. One of my coaches said it's Eastern Indian. If somebody can confirm that, yay. But it's like a little Bollywood-esque dancing. So like as we're doing crossover breaks especially, this works more as we're like in the middle, not doing them slow motion, but there it is. As I do my crossover breaks, a lot of times I start with my hand up. I always call this serving pizza, and I serve the pizza, and then I dump it on the floor because they are rude customers. And then I like bring it back, and I have something in my hand, and then I dump it out at the end. So as you get used to like using your elbows, I shouldn't be doing the chicken dance, but whatever, you'll end up like maybe feeling parts where it feels okay to like do some flippage. That's all good. And yes, if you like stop it at some point, you might be like, well, this looks dumb. It's not. And there's a whole thing about like how to hold your hands. The best idea is just to go like this. Like shoot lasers out your fingers. There's something like, you know, the fancy cheeseburger, you're holding a cheeseburger. It's too much. Just make everything big. Like put a lot of tone in it. You're fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Wait, Kira. Oh, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Kira, go.
Hi. So I am a genetic anomaly, and I have double jointed elbows. You do?
I used to. I dislocated one, so it's like not so much anymore, but I love it.
So maybe that's the answer to my question, is to dislocate my elbows. So when I do, especially with like crossover breaks, when I snap back, it's really hard because you're snapping the lower half.
Yeah.
Not to immediately fall into that double joint lock, and then it's really hard to get out gracefully because it is locked. Do you have any advice or significance?
Yes. So it's sort of advice, and that's sort of accept yourself. But no, I had a friend who was very double jointed as well, and they were like, they kind of learned to not extend their arms, which was bad. Like embrace the fact that you're double jointed, because it's kind of awesome. And make sure, this is the advice part, make sure that you have tone through that whole snap, because while it looks like a snap, I'm definitely putting tone into that whole motion. So as long as you're controlling it and you're not just like, woo, like backhanding it, it'll be totally fine. And generally speaking, it's kind of a gift in dancing, because you just have a little bit more extension than anybody else does. So I love it. I love it. Good question though. Yay. What else? What else? Oh, nobody? Ooh, Ames, go, Ames.
All right, so I love doing like the counteracting, the squeezing and stretching at the same time.
Yeah.
But then I'm worried about my shoulder when my elbow's going up, because I feel like, okay, I'm bringing this shoulder, this elbow up. I don't want to bring this shoulder up. I don't know if it's just like I'm using the wrong muscles, or I've never used the right muscles before, but I can never seem to get a good elbow lift without like really jutting my shoulder up.
That's such a good question. And I was kind of horrified the fact that like you're asking it, because I thought about it so much. I was like, okay, well this, like the squeeze is so obvious. Like you feel it through the back of your shoulder and like down to your hip. But the raising, I have to do this standing. It's super weird to do it sitting. As you raise this elbow up, I'm still really thinking back with this shoulder, which is weird. So I'm feeling it through like the back of my outer shoulder. I'm sure it's a deltoid. One of those deltoids is happening, but I'm really raising it up forward like you would. Oh my gosh, it's the serratus muscle. Look it up, serratus. It's the same, this is where there's similarities. It's the same muscle that you use to hold up your frame and smooth if you're doing it right. That was my high kick from the floor. So if you think about holding your frame up, you know how your elbows are like slightly forward and in front of you, but it's coming from like the outside back of your armpit. That's where you're thinking about raising this elbow up too. As I start doing this, it's that like crazy super inside muscle. It's called the serratus. That's where it's coming from. That should hold your shoulder down as you're actually raising your elbow up, because it's true, it's really easy to kind of go like, you know, worm it as you go. So yeah, keeping that squeeze like you're going to go into dance frame for smooth and standard will help keep that shoulder down while bringing your elbow up. Ooh, counterbalance. Okay. Did you guys all sign up for, what was it? I always call it the wrong thing. Blast? Yeah! I am so excited. I have no idea how that's all working, but I'm excited to see videos. I guess I'm judging it. It sounds impressive. I don't know. The whole online competition, it's amazing. Okay, so big review. I would practice doing that squish and stretch exercise like as much as possible, because then your muscle memory will start working for you, and instead of you having to be like, okay, left elbow, right knee comes in, stretch, like instead of having to consciously think of all those things, you'll have it in your muscles, which is it's an amazing thing, but it starts to work through osmosis. So if you're doing those exercises outside of dancing, and then you go to dance, you know, social at some point, or with your partner, or you're just dancing in class or whatever, you'll be like, hey, my muscles are doing things for me, and it's brilliant. this is super random, but on Instagram, if you look me up, I think you can look me up by name, but also Riot and Frolic. It's my crazy blog. But I have a thing called toothbrush exercises, and I do like, there's like 30 videos of really easy drills that you can do to make all of your dancing easier. So if you feel like looking that up, great. The stretch and the squish are both on there. And then doing, I swear there's something else. Oh, telling a story with your free arm, if you have a free arm for a bit. So like, look at my fancy hair, look at my fancy letters, look at my bracelet, look at my face, like whatever it's gonna be. Like, pick something to think about instead of being like, well, I have to do this thing with my arm. It's just a good dance performance, and like, you'll feel it better if you have a little story that you enjoy about it. And how follows are kind of like showing off the whole time, but leads are like, I have created this, which is also showing off, but in a different way. And then finding your elbows for when you are doing opening actions. So I use crossovers a lot because it's like the first one that we learn, but like, you're opening away from your partner, but like, make sure you get your elbow going first, and then hiya, and then elbow comes back in. Yes. Yes. So good. Next week, I think I have cha-cha. No, it's rumba. It's rumba. We're doing more Cuban motion. But if you ever have any requests, either find me on Instagram or Facebook or like whatever, and like, feel free to message me questions or requests or whatever, because as much as I can plan all day long for what I want to do, it's also really good to hear what you guys want to hear from me. So yay. Thanks, guys. Bye.